Well, it has been a while since we have been here. This is Aquatics Unlimited, located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it is a great store. It is one of my all-time favorites and one of the first fish store tours I ever did on this channel was of this place. And they had since remodeled a few years ago, and people kept telling me, you got to go back. They've improved it. It looks a lot nicer. And as you're going to see throughout this video, they were right. We walked in and it was a great store before. I would say it's just even better now. And I'm going to show you a whole bunch of fish. Now keep in mind, this is a pretty large fish store. It's got around 500 aquariums or so, maybe more. I had a chance to talk with both the fresh and saltwater managers of this store and got a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. One of the things that's so cool, and you know if you've been watching my channel for a long time, is I really stress if you're going to go to a pet store, ideally it would be pretty awesome if you could find a store that is quarantining their fish for at least a week or two. And these guys do it. They quarantine their fish for 2 weeks before they ever make it into the main area here. I got to see their quarantine facility. At some point, I'm hoping to go back there and we can film it. We can talk more with both the fresh and saltwater managers because got a lot of really cool, again, behind the scenes information, and I just think it's awesome. And so you're looking at a fish store that, again, is fairly large, and to have a store that's this large quarantining their fish like they do for a couple weeks is a big deal, and I highly recommend, if you've got a chance to go there, if you're in the Milwaukee area, this is a place worth checking out. And you're going to see one of the things that's so nice is you've got a store this size and all their tanks look outstanding. They're clean. The store itself is in great shape. It's not that typical super hot store where you walk in and it smells bad. That is not the case here at all. This is a very nicely laid out store. And as you're going to see throughout this video, they have, if you're looking for freshwater fish and you can't find it here, you're going to have a hard time finding that fish, because with this many tanks and with the type of selection they have, from their nano fish to their community fish to all the different types of cichlids and even some monster fish, as you're going to see a little bit later, there is a lot to see here. As we go through this tour, I'm just curious, are there any fish that really stood out, fish that you absolutely really want after looking at all the selection that they have? There was definitely a few here. I was actually up in the area because I was speaking at the Milwaukee Aquarium Society meeting, and when we went here, we had an overnight stay, so I really didn't get a chance to get anything, but there's a lot of fish here that I'm absolutely loving. Swordtails to me are one of the big ones. They have a really, really great selection, and I think this is a fish that has not seen enough love in the last 5 to 10 years. And I think it's going to be making a comeback just because there are so many new strains out there. It's going to spark interest. Absolutely love this fish, the metallic live bear. This is something I hadn't seen before. Really thought it was pretty cool. Definitely a fish I'm going to add to the list. This aquarium here, I actually filmed the first time I was here and probably the second time as well. And it's interesting to see the fish growing up over time. And what's cool is you've got the Denison barbs, otherwise known as the roseline sharks, in there, but then you've got the Goldens variety. And what's interesting about those fish is when you bring in the Goldens, some of them revert back to wild type. And so the golds are really, really expensive. And then you wind up with fish returning back to the wild type. And so if you go to a pet store and you find those fish, the reason why there's so much money is the ones that actually stay golden, well, you pay a lot for those as a pet store, and then you lose a fair number of them, not because they are unhealthy, but just because they revert back to the wild type form, and they're not worth as much because they're just regular old roseline sharks. And there's a lot of rainbow fish here, something that we're going to talk a lot more about in the very near future. Something to consider, if you are interested and want to know more about a lot of the fish that you're seeing here, go to our channel, just type in the fish you're interested in. type in Primetime Aquatics as part of your search, and a lot of the fish here we are going to have species profiles for. It's one of the things that we've done on this channel over the last 8 years or so, is basically try to give people quality information about fish that you're trying to keep every day. And so, like I said, you see something here, go into the search bar on Primetime Aquatics, type in the fish, Primetime Aquatics, see if we've got a species profile for you. We probably do. These are little baby green severums. They kind of lose those stripes after a while as they get a little bit older, but still a really cool looking fish. I loved this Oscar. It was awesome. You really can't get a feel for how large this fish was, but it was in such beautiful shape. And if you're looking for full-grown Oscars, they had a few here. They had the albino pacu, kind of an interesting fish, pretty unusual, a little pricey, but again, it's something, if you got a massive, massive aquarium, it can be pretty awesome. You got all kinds of different types of silver dollars here as well. They had a nice angelfish selection, and what was cool is, again, you saw a lot of the freshwater, the nano side, but half of their store is also cichlids from South Central America, African cichlids. Like I said, with a place this large, you are probably going to find something that you're looking for, and they have a massive selection of dry goods. They had aquariums there, tons and tons of plants and shrimp and snails. They pretty much had it all, and they have a significant saltwater side too. I tend not to focus on that very much just because most of my viewers are freshwater. It's what I focus on, and so I really don't spend a lot of time there. I'll probably show you a couple of tanks towards the end, but for the most part, they have a really nice selection of both. Even the goldfish, they had lots of different types. They looked healthy, which sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge for some pet stores to bring in healthy goldfish and keep them that way. These guys did a really good job with that. They do have a nice plant selection, so there is an entire row. And by the way, Joanna, on the small scape, I'll link that video in the upper right-hand corner. She did a tour that focused more on the plants and the nano aquarium side, so if you want to see a different aspect, check out that video. This was the largest parrotfish I've ever seen. That's Joanna's hand, and it was, I don't think the camera did a good enough job of just showing how massive that fish really was. This was a display tank that they had. Check this thing out. How cool is this fish tank? I could sit there and look at it for hours, and they had benches right there, so you could just sit there and look at it for hours if you really wanted to. And it was right next to that parrotfish, that parrot cichlid tank as well. So that was pretty cool. And on the African cichlid side, they had everything. They had Lake Tanganyikans, they had Lake Victoria, Lake Malawi, haps, peacocks, and Mbuna, you name it, they've got it. So if you're a cichlid person, this is definitely a place to check out. Tons and tons of variety. Well, this was just a little bit of the store. Obviously, with 500 aquariums, I didn't show you the vast majority of what they have. But again, if you're in the area, it is 100% worth checking out. As always, thank you so much for being here. Have a great week, everyone. And if you're interested in some more videos of cool fish, check out those videos in the upper and lower right-hand corner.